Welcome to the Law Firm Marketing Minute, your source of internet marketing inspiration.
Hey everyone, and welcome to the Law Firm Marketing Minute. I'm your host, John Hinson. This week, wanted to address a common sort of complaint or, kind of refrain that I hear a lot of times, when I'm talking to people. And the overarching sort of thing is they'll say, well, marketing doesn't work. And that could obviously mean several things. And maybe you've uttered that, and maybe it means something different. It typically means one of a couple different things. One, it means that in your experience, when you say marketing doesn't work, it means that either the marketing that you've tried in the past doesn't work, and that, basically how you generate business is in your mind, not through any sort of marketing, but like word of mouth or referral or anything like that, which referrals is a form of marketing, but whatever. Or maybe you say marketing doesn't work because it doesn't get the results that you think it should get for you. And, kind of different, but in all, it all comes back to the same sort of root problem. And that is, if you think that marketing doesn't work, it's because you haven't either been looking for the right results or you've been focusing on the wrong things. So what do I mean by that? I think a lot of times, and we've talked about this before, where most law firms, they are focused on hunting for new leads. And that's it. They're just constantly out there looking for new leads. And you get into this sort of thing, where we've talked about, kind of a traditional marketing funnel, and a marketing campaign brings in leads, and maybe it'll nurture people up to a certain point. And then once the campaign's done, maybe you stop spending as much on lead generation. If you had done maybe some SEO work in the past, maybe you stopped doing that, or maybe your rankings fell because of an algorithm change or whatever the case is. However it happened, all you were focusing on was the lead generation side and the hunting for new leads. And there wasn't anything being done after that. And that's where I think a lot of business owners get frustrated, because they think that they're doing marketing and they think that they are checking off all of the boxes that marketing accomplishes for them. But the reality of it is that their marketing is only doing half of what it needs to do. Your marketing should absolutely bring people in, for sure. But then what happens once they're in your pipeline, in your system? What sorts of efforts are you making to then continue nurturing them along, building that trust, building that credibility to where they want to work with you? And that's where most law firms, in my experience and what I've seen, is that they're not what they're doing. And so how do you do that? Obviously, it's by continuing to create touch points along their journey. And look, in some instances, that journey could take several months. It could take years even. Look, we've had clients sign on to have us handle their marketing, and they've been in our system for like 3 years, 4 years. Way old. And they've been just, getting our stuff for a long time, for whatever reason, it was just never the right fit, never the right timing, whatever it was, but it eventually came along. And look, you're going to need business just as much today as you are in 3 years. And I'm a firm believer that everyone in your pipeline is valuable, right? Even if they're not a good fit for your firm. Maybe you have to refer work out, or maybe it's just not a right fit at all. Maybe they just don't, maybe they realize they didn't need a lawyer after all, or whatever the case is. And there's still value there. And so it's this thing that I still am trying to understand as to why so many law firms just kind of give up on all of these leads, and because they're so valuable and you spent so much money to get them into your system in the first place, to then just give up on them or to ignore them or to just not even continue nurturing them along the way is really baffling to me, because that's where you're really going to see the value. That's where you're going to see the conversion. That's where you're going to see the ROI of all of the money you spent initially getting those leads in the first place. I hear lawyers talk so much about ROI of marketing. It's all an ecosystem. It all works together. You can't, you can't, you can't expect your crops to grow if you're not getting water to them, and the water is the leads that are coming in. And so, it's a multi-step process. And unfortunately, their marketing companies don't do a great job of explaining that. Marketing companies are, especially on the lead generation side, are very just focused on getting you leads. And that's great because you need that to a degree. But don't forget about the people who are already in your system, especially if you've been in business for several years. You probably have hundreds, if not thousands, of contacts at this point. And there gets to be a point where you will be able to get just as much, if not more, ROI from your current list as you would from bringing in new leads. And honestly, it could be sooner rather than later. You've probably heard a bunch of studies out there where it costs like 5 times more money to generate new leads than it does to market to your current list, because it is so much harder to generate leads than it is to nurture the people who are already there. All right. Because you've already done the hard part. You've gotten them into your system. You've gotten them to give you some sort of contact information. So, my challenge to you this week is look into ways to nurture your current list, to stay in touch with your current list. Your contact list, we've said it before, is your most valuable marketing asset. And so many law firms fail to utilize it. So figure out what you can do to reach out to those people. Send out an email. Ask people to follow you on social media. Build up your social media following. Send out a regular email newsletter with valuable information. And we can talk a little bit about that later on down the road. But yeah, it's all about, continuing to market. Marketing is not a start and stop sort of thing. It is a thing that should continuously be happening in your law firm in order to get the most out of it. So if you've ever said marketing doesn't work, take a good look at what you've been doing and see if you can see those patterns where some of the decisions that you've made would have ultimately resulted in it not working. Maybe you started and stopped. Maybe you were just focusing on lead generation, whatever the case is. And look, if you look at that and you still think, hey, no, marketing doesn't work, I completely disagree with you, reach out to me. I want to know more about your situation. I want to see, what you've got going on and see what the issue might be. Because I think we can figure something out to where you can find something that works for you. It's worked for thousands of years. Marketing is not a new thing. Marketing has been around ever since businesses have been around. So it works, and we've seen it work. There's a reason that we have been in business for 10 years because, obviously it does work, and it has worked for hundreds of law firms all over the country. So that's going to do it for us this week. Continue to check out the live stream on Thursday mornings now. We're trying to go live around 8:30 a.m. Eastern. So, if you're on the East Coast, that'll probably be pretty easy. But if you're anywhere else, you can't make it to the live stream, it will be recorded. You can check it out on our social media platforms. I'm going to be on Facebook, Twitter. It's going to be on my personal LinkedIn for now until beta, the beta side for the company pages is done. It's going to be on our YouTube channel, and I did a TikTok live. So 5 different platforms, so many opportunities to just come hang out on a Thursday morning, get a little bit of marketing knowledge, business development knowledge. I mean, we'll kind of go back and forth on that one, and just ask some questions, throw some questions in the chats. I'll answer them live as they come in, and we'll try to make it, try to build it up, have a fun little time over there on Thursday morning. So that's going to be it. Thanks so much for all the ratings and reviews, all of the feedback. I really do appreciate it, and hope you continue to get value out of this little podcast. And so that's going to be it. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for joining us. Please visit lawfirmmarketingminute.com for more information. We'll see you next time.